It's time for the Q&A. Thank you for sending me questions, because it would have been really awkward if there were none. I was going to try and group the questions in some sort of logical order, but I didn't do that, so here we are. If you weren't aware, this Q&A was to celebrate me reaching 500 subscribers. Thank you once again to everyone who has subscribed and everyone who has subscribed since that video. It means so much to me, you have no idea. At the end of this video, I'm going to be announcing the winner of the giveaway as well, so do be sure to stick around for that and you can see if you've won. First question comes from Peter Clark, the writer, who asks, what is your favourite type of cheese? And I'm sorry to get this off on such a negative note. And I hope this doesn't change anyone's opinion of me, but I don't like cheese at all. I think it's gross. I want to like it. I know there are so many things I'm missing out on because I don't like it, but it just doesn't agree with my mouth. So Olivia Pope asked, please may you tell us a little bit about your poetry writing process? How do you plan / write, etc.? And who is your biggest poetic inspiration? I talk to myself a lot. I really like poetry that rhymes, so I tend to have like little conversations with myself and just try and make those rhyme. Usually a poem for me will stem from just like one image or one line that I've come up with that I really enjoy, and it just kind of stems from there and evolves. Sometimes that one line won't even end up in the poem. It was just like the seed that planted what will hopefully grow into a nice oak tree. I find that's really common for me, that things that were in the first draft of a poem will not be in the finished draft, and the finished draft, while it may be on the same topic as the first draft, they won't be anything alike. Sometimes as a writer you kind of just need to sit your butt down and churn something out and hope that it's good, but be accepting of it when it's not good and realise that it's not the end of the world if you write something that's a bit crap. I think one of the best things you can do as a poet is listen and read other poetry. I think it is entirely necessary, especially if it's something that you want to take further than it just being a hobby. As for who my biggest poetic inspiration is, I really like Caroline Duffy, I really like Wendy Cope, I really like Megan Beach, I really like Savannah Brown, and I'm also massively inspired by my friends and my peers. They are a talented bunch of people. Denise Marie asked a very similar question. It was, what form of poetry do you prefer to read and to write? I do like free verse poetry generally. I don't like to be restricted when I'm writing, so I will always start free verse, and then if I think a structure is suitable, the structure will become second. I have written poems that have a set rhyming scheme, but they do start free verse and we then see what happens. As for reading, I don't really have a preference. I do generally have a preference for poems that rhyme, but again, not necessarily with a rhyming scheme. Fernanda Lopez asked a question that I'm quite embarrassed by the answer I'm going to give, and that was, have you read or do you own any books by Hispanic authors? If so, which ones were your favourites and which ones would you like to read in the future? Shamefully, I have not read like any Hispanic literature, which is bloody ridiculous. I would love to fix that really soon, especially with Own Voices October going on and the Diversathon just passed. My reading schedule is quite packed with university reading at the minute, but it is something that I really want to rectify. One book that I really want to read is Juliet Takes a Breath, with which my friend Mel is just always plugging because she loved it so much, and I'm sure I would as well. It sounds absolutely fantastic and I would really love to read that book. Lamesha Hale, I hope I've said that right, has asked, how do you go about organising your time for making your videos? Do you have a schedule? I try to have a schedule, but it doesn't always go well. I try to upload on Sundays and Wednesdays, but sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes uni and life gets in the way. I think during Freshers Week, my schedule just went out the window. So I tend to film in advance. Filming will generally be done a few days before the video is meant to go up, or I will film like 2 videos in one day whenever I can fit it in. Generally filming will happen sometime between Saturday and Tuesday. As for organising my time, I do just fit it in when I can, and I do have a notebook list of videos that I want to make. It's definitely a tight squeeze with how busy I am with other things, but I wouldn't have it any other way. Vanessa from Chbosky asks, are there any childhood series that you love, excluding Harry Potter, of course? as much now as back then? And do you think they stand the test of time for adults in the way that Harry Potter did? I didn't read a lot of the like children's classics when I was younger. I'm only reading them now as an adult, which is quite strange. So they're kind of completely excluded from my options for this one. But the one other series that does spring to mind is A Series of Unfortunate Events. Whether that will stand the test of time, I don't know, because the plots are quite monotonous. I don't know if maybe the Netflix series will give it some more longevity, but the A Series of Unfortunate Events books are definitely something that have stuck with me, and I'm rereading them at the minute. I do think it is a series that doesn't leave you. It is a series that you always want to come back to and dip into that world again and dip into that atmosphere and that style of writing. Book lover Stephanie asked, how many books do you have and how do you organise them? I have around, including ebooks, I've got like approaching 400 books. As for specifically physical books, I don't know how many books I have. As for how I organise them, it is a bit all over the place. I do have a lot of books at my mum's house, which currently are just randomly shoved on a shelf. The bookshelf in my university hall's room is organised by rainbow, so it goes white all the way through the rainbow and then into black. Some books that didn't quite fit into that rainbow style are in boxes. Books that I'm going to need soon for university are in my bedside table, along with bigger books that didn't really fit on the bookshelf, and as well as that, I have my Penguin English Library books as well. In the bottom shelf of my bedside cabinet thing, I also have all my library books. It's a bit all over the place at the minute, but it's working well. Bree Hill asks, if you could only recommend one book for the rest of your life, what would it be? Asking for It by Louise O'Neill, but I'm not comfortable with picking a favourite. This question's horrible. Lauren from Lauren and the Books asked, what do you miss most about Ireland when you are here, and what... This doesn't make any sense, Lauren. What do you miss most about Ireland when you are here, and what do you miss most about Ireland when you are here? Lauren, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Okay, so Lauren from Lauren and the Books asks, what do you miss most about Ireland when you're here? And what do you miss most about here when you're in Ireland? I assume that's what it means. What I miss most about Ireland when I'm here is the shops. It's very specific to the two places I'm living in. I'm living in quite a relatively small Welsh town, and I'm from Dublin, so shopping in Dublin is a lot better. I miss Barry's tea. I miss a lot of little Irish isms that don't really exist in Wales, and little bits of slang that exist in Dublin. And what I miss about here when I'm in Dublin is my friends. All of my best friends are here, and they're not in Dublin, and that's shit. Like here, I live with some of my best friends, and I live really, really close to basically all of my friends. Doris Deer asked, what is your favourite book to movie adaptation, and do you have a least favourite? I'm not a massive movie buff, but I did really, really love the 2015 adaptation of Macbeth. I thought it was fantastic. I quite like the adaptation of The Book Thief. I know a lot of people don't like that, but I quite enjoyed it. I thought it was good. As for ones I didn't like, it's got to be A Series of Unfortunate Events. As great as I think Jim Carrey was, it was just nonsensical to try and squeeze the first 3 books into one film. It didn't make any sense. Karis from Karis on Reading asked, as a fellow third year student, how are you feeling about graduating? And what about leaving uni are you most excited / nervous about? I have very conflicting feelings on this. I'm very excited to be done with uni. I realise I don't want to go into academia, like literary criticism, while I enjoy it, is not something I would like to do as a career. So I'm looking forward to being out of university in that respect, and I'm looking forward to really like trying out the career that I actually want to have properly. I'm excited to move back to Dublin and live in a capital city again and take advantage of all the opportunities that I neglected to take advantage of when I lived there. But what I am really not looking forward to is leaving my friends. That's not gonna be fun at all. Obviously, all my third year friends were going various places to do various things, and that's not fun. A few of my friends are younger than me as well, so I will get back to visit them a bit, but it's just weird. It's weird thinking that this place that I have made my home is going to continue existing, and people are going to continue doing things that I would have normally been there for, but then I'm not going to be there for. It's very strange. Rihanna Reeds asked, do you plan on participating in NaNoWriMo? No, I do not. I'm going to be working on a lot of other creative projects, like I'm going to be doing a lot of poetry for my writing project and a lot of research for that project and a lot of essays. Yeah, doing NaNoWriMo is just nonsensical for me this year. Josh from the Literary Gladiators asked, if you could only read 3 genres for the rest of your life, what would they be? Can I be really cheeky and just kind of say literary fiction? Are we calling poetry a genre? I'm probably gonna say young adult, because I feel like in saying literary fiction and poetry, I've kind of got a fix of a lot of other things. Katie from Katie Loves to Read asks, what is the book that has been on your TBR for the longest? The one that springs to mind is probably like The Shock of the Fall by Nathan Filer. I got this in like October of my first year of university. I think my mum bought it for me when she came to visit, and I just haven't picked it up since, and it was recommended to me recently, so maybe that's something I should get to soon. Katie also asked my top 3 places that I've always wanted to travel. America. Really want to visit Denmark. I've had this weird obsession with Denmark since I was really young. I think I saw like a furniture show and I really liked the furniture, and it was in Copenhagen, and ever since I've really wanted to go to Denmark. And this one is really quite accessible, but I really want to go to Edinburgh. Edinburgh just seems like a wonderfully arty, literary place of brilliance, and I just really want to go there. Litter Abby asked, if you could pull one fictional character from the page into real life to be your best friend, who would you pick and why? My first reaction to this question was to say Hermione Granger, but that would be a disaster. We just totally get on each other's nerves. I think I'd really like to be friends with Nina from Nina Is Not Okay. I feel like we would get on very well and be able to relate to each other in a lot of ways. Melissa from The Bookish Babbler asked, if you had to pick between red lipstick or clothing with stripes, which would you pick? This is genuinely the toughest question. Melissa obviously knows my Instagram well and knows that stripy shirts is basically all I wear. Red lipstick just makes me feel too powerful. I can't live without it. That was a torturous question, Melissa. A Simple Cup of Tea asked 3 quick questions. Favourite food, favourite trilogy, and favourite mode of transport. Chocolate trifles, The Hunger Games, and trains. Katie from Books and Things asked if I write prose as well as poetry, and if both, which did I start writing first? I have a whole video where I talk about kind of my writing journey, and I will leave that linked down below. But the too long didn't read version of that is that I started writing prose, and now I almost entirely write poetry. I only really write prose for creative writing assignments. I had to get back into prose recently and I really struggled, but I do feel like I'm getting back into the swing of things. Yeah, I do write prose, but my heart isn't in it in the same way that it is with poetry. Should I read some short stories on here? Is that something people would want? I don't know. LaCarly8 asked a similar question to Josh did from the Literary Gladiators, she would like to know what my favourite genre to read from is and why, and I am going to be a cop-out and say literary fiction, because it's quite all-encompassing, and I think because literary fiction tends to like surpass the idea of being boxed into one genre, you get a lot more out of it. But it is a very pretentious term in my opinion, but I like it. And Laura Elwing asked, do you think your favourite genres have changed with time, or do you basically like the same things you always did? I still really like children's fiction. I like classics a lot more than I used to. I used to be kind of like, I don't know how to read classics, they're really difficult, which is not the case. I was never someone that kind of boxed myself into a genre of books that I liked though, which is why I found these genre questions so difficult to answer. Travelling Agent asked, which book would I love to see made into a movie? And for this, I'm going to say If I Was Your Girl by Meredith Russo, and I would love for it to have an incredibly diverse, like, own voices cast. If I Was Your Girl is about a trans girl going to a new school for the first time and the experience she has there. Just a really touching YA story. Yeah, I think that would be a really great film. Mel from Books with Wings asked, if I could personally witness any moment in a book, which one would it be? I would love to witness the moment in The Prisoner of Azkaban when Gryffindor win the Quidditch Cup. As much as I am a very proud Slytherin, I am also a very big Oliver Wood fan, and I relate to Oliver Wood, on so many levels. But he just wanted that Quidditch Cup so bad, and he finally got it, and I would just love to witness that celebration. Tasha from Once Upon a Jones asked some really great questions. She asked, is there a book, outfit, person, song that inspires you to be strong, motivated, and powerful? Book, anything that is like gender-based non-fiction really like makes me feel powerful after I read. Outfit, normally it's red lipstick and stripy tops. Generally when it comes to clothes, I do have this kind of idea of I do want to project a certain element of my personality with them, and that element of my personality is someone who is very in control of things. Songs are basically anything by like a great female artist. Like Wolf Alice, Lucy Rose, Florence and the Machine. Anything that kind of makes you want to dance as well is normally quite motivational. Books or my social life actually asked a question which kind of feeds into that, and who are your favourite musicians? Adding on to the ones I just said, I really like Foles, I really like Paolo Nutini, Sabian, Nina Nesbitt is great, Orla Gartland, Don Broco, New Politics, Niamh Crowther, Marina and the Diamonds, Church's Daughter. So they are all of the questions. Thank you very much for asking all of them. I am now going to find out the winner of the giveaway. I have assigned every person who commented and wanted to enter the giveaway a number, and I'm going to use a random number generator to pick the winner. So the number was 17, which I randomly assigned to Denise Marie. So congratulations, you have won the giveaway. The prize was a £5 spend on the book depository. So if you want to get in touch with me and we can sort that out, then my links are down there. Easiest way to get in touch with me is Twitter, but we can sort it out over email or Instagram or something if that's easier for you. They were all my A's to all of your Q's. If you have any more Q's, leave them down in the comments and I will get to them as soon as I can. Thank you very much once again for subscribing. You are all a wonderful bunch of people, and I need to go eat some food now because I'm bloody starving.